Driving it home with Patti Vasquez, Patti Vasquez.
From global conflicts to greenhouse gases, the folks refusing to wear masks says, and politicians getting caught grabbing asses says, she's driving it home with Patti Vasquez.
And hello, happy Friday, everybody. This is Driving It Home with Patti Vasquez. As I always say, I am not Patti Vasquez. This is Dan Schaefer filling in for Patti Vasquez. Hello to you all. This is the Friday before Christmas, so this is crunch time. And if you're feeling the crunch like I am, I have pity for you because this is, I'm way behind on most everything. I also have been having trouble getting into the spirit light of most recent events and things of that sort. I don't know. I've got the Christmas tree up, and that's about it, really. I've done my mother's decorations, all of them. My house is just really the Christmas tree. So I don't know. I've been kind of feeling not in the spirit this year so far. But I did just about 10 minutes before I got here, I left my my nephew's preschool Christmas recital, and he was a little donkey in the manger, and it was actually really adorable. And to see the kids singing carols and things, that actually kind of helped me. That helped warm my heart, if you will. So I'm no longer as much of a Scrooge as I was before I saw that. So you got to find ways to get yourself into the spirit as any way you can. And little children dressed as little farm animals just really tends to do it, I guess. I don't know, but it did it for me at least today. But I am filling in for Patti. We've got a great show. We have a guest at the midpoint of this hour. And other than that, it's just going to be you and I chatting. We've got some interesting topics to chat about. If you want to join a conversation, the number is 773-763-9278. We are still waiting. I guess there is the current funding bill in the House is moving toward a vote. We're not quite sure what's going to happen if it goes to the Senate. The most recent update that I've been able to see, I keep reading refresh on Politico, CNN, and Fox News just to kind of see who's reporting what. As of 3 minutes ago, President Musk is congratulating Speaker of the House Johnson, saying he did a good job on the new bill considering the circumstances, saying that he did a nice job based on what he had to work with. The new bill, what does it cover? It includes the funding for disaster relief, which was taken out originally, that $110 billion. It's not like we've had a couple of hurricanes or anything in this country in the last year. And it did not touch the debt limit, which was a big thing for Democrats. They wanted to suspend the debt limit. And it also included the Farm Bill extension. But it did not extend the debt limit, and that was the key point for Democrats, because allowing that to happen would basically greenlight Donald Trump to come in next year and do another trillion or a couple $1 trillion tax cut for billionaires that would not be paid for. And so all of those fiscal conservatives out there, I question where that went. But there's that. There's talking about we're starting to see the Biden administration wind down a lot of the things that they have been working on, including student loan debt and a lot of their other initiatives that they've been putting efforts and resources behind, just because they know that as soon as January 20th hits, those things are essentially dead in the water. There's just a lot that's been going on. Russia had another massive attack on Ukraine, killing several people. There was a car that ran into a Christmas market in Germany. Yet another school shooting this week. There's no shortage of things to talk about here this week. But let's kick it off right away with our good friend Jim from Chicago. Hey, Jim, how are you?
Hi, Dan. I promise you're only a couple of drinks short of the Christmas spirit. You'll get it by Sunday or Monday. There's got to be a concoction you can guzzle down and get a little spirit.
You know me too well, Jim.
Yeah, this reminds me of why this popped in my mind today. A movie, it's a Mad World, which was hysterical. It was Sid Caesar, Dick Shawn, Spencer Tracy, Mickey Rooney. It was a hysterical movie, and it just showed the greed of these individuals. They're willing to risk life and limb for this treasure by a palm tree of 100,000 or a couple 100,000, whatever it was, and that was in the 60s. Now look at the income inequality today. It's amazing. And not only that, but they can, I mean, this guy, Musk, who's got more pictures than, I don't know, every time he's on TV, he's got about 17 different pictures, with different T-shirts, our world in pictures. But, I mean, he threatens the House of Representatives that he'll dump them out with his scratch. He's got enough scratch to dump them all out.
Right.
So, I mean, how long can we pretend that we have a democracy when there's individuals on Earth that are willing to they got enough dough to throw
Jim, I thought
there.
at least the democracy would wait to be thrown out the door until after January 20th. I didn't expect for it to happen so soon.
Yeah. You're exactly right. I mean, the erosion is. I mean, it's gone. It's almost like. We went from a quicksand to I don't know what, inhabitable.
A complete fallout, essentially. Really, I mean, think about it. I mean, Elon Musk, he has a $300 million investment in this administration, and he's trying to recoup he's trying to get his gains as quickly as he can. And it's clear.
Yeah, I know.
It's clear.
Yeah, I know.
And I don't know. I mean, Johnson, I feel like I don't know. I mean, I feel like Johnson actually nobody loved the deal. Nobody loved the CR bill. But it was a bill that was agreed upon. And then all of a sudden, boom. And now it's like at the 11th hour, they have to reconfigure, and they're doing all of these closed door sessions. And I mean, if you were in a corporate job and you had a deadline and you came this close to it, and then what happens if you miss the deadline? You get fired. But no, these folks still get paid. They get to go do whatever. They get to go do, and it's just insane to me.
I know you're exactly, but it's really gotten crazy. That's why I thought of Mad World in the 60s, because now it's, the income inequality is just beyond the charts. And what else was I thinking? Oh my God, just the atmosphere for Christmas. Think about this. We got to look at Trump's picture. He's all over the place, Dan. They've got him on Time Magazine, which he belongs in Sing Sing. That's where he belongs. He belongs in Sing Sing with a prison suit on. Yep. But somehow he ended up on Time Magazine. And I'm sure it'll be Christmas with Trump. Can you imagine what a miserable Christmas that'd be? I'd rather be at the Pacific Garden Mission at State Street.
I'd be right there next to you.
You could be with that outfit, on Christmas Eve. I mean, it's just too much. What a Christmas this is going to be. I mean, I wake up, Dan, about, when I get up, I'm getting strange dreams anyway. It's just the election, but now it's like, oh, that's right. That lunatic is president again. I got to put up with his tweets for 4 years or whatever. Now he's on Truth Social with that mug with the Uncle Sam, red, white, and blue on his face. I mean, it's just unbelievable.
They kicked me off of Truth Social. I have to find a new alias to go back on. Apparently, they didn't like me trolling them, so I have to figure out a new fake name and go back in.
Yeah, well, Dan, you can take. Well, you're younger than me. When you get another 20 years, you won't. You can only take so much abuse.
I agree. Yeah. It's a very dark place there. I'm telling you.
Yeah. Anyway, pal, you have a great show.
Yeah. Merry Christmas, my friend. Okay.
Yeah. You're just a couple of drinks.
All right. I will cheers to you, my friend. Thanks, Jim. Have a good holiday. No, that's true though. I mean, it's Tom Hartman was talking about this, and there were a couple of other callers that were calling in, and I even on some of the TV shows today, they never thought that it would take us this short of a time to become an oligarchy where a billionaire can basically just direct the country wherever he, she, or they wants it to go. And it's, I mean, literally, we had a bipartisan bill that was agreed upon and, if passed, would have been signed into law. And all of a sudden, we have the Speaker of the House in a group text with Vivek Ramaswamy, or Ramasalami, as I like to call him. And, oh my God, I can't even remember his name right now. And President, The current president, or the current president-elect.
Donald Trump?
No, the other one, the real one.
Oh, Joe Biden?
No.
The actual who are you talking about?
Tesla. Why am I forgetting his name right now?
Elon Musk?
Elon Musk, sorry. Vivek always throws me off. So we have the current Speaker of the House with Musk and Vivek in a group chat, and they're like chatting about this bill that was already agreed upon by both parties. And then all of a sudden things have to change. And then hours later, Trump chimes in like, yeah, I agree with this change. And it's like, were you even part of this discussion, or were you part of any of this decision making? I don't know. I question it. In any real administration, you don't negotiate directly with the president. You negotiate with the president's representatives. So maybe they were acting on that behalf, but this is in no way, shape, or form a regular, or will it ever be a regular administration? So I honestly do think that Musk is again trying to realize the gains in his investment, and he's going to stop at nothing because he has really nothing to lose. I mean, what if Trump fires him? Okay, Trump's not going to, because then he loses a major donor. And I think that he's honestly, it's a very dangerous, slippery slope that we're on at this point, because we have somebody who has nothing to lose, who just wants to gain everything, and literally can put out 100 tweets in a matter of minutes, and they get retweeted and retweeted and retweeted, and then all of a sudden, all of these Republican representatives are going to be primaried in 2 years, and they're terrified, so they're just going to go and fall in line, which is not the definition of democracy in any way, shape, or form. But I don't know. And we're only seeing this now, and it's not even January 20th. Like Trump isn't even president yet, and already he's been able to affect so many things already. And it's already a crap show at this point. And so I can only imagine what we have in store for us. We have Judy on hold. Let's do a break, Paul, if we can. We'll do a quick break, and we'll take Judy on the other end of that. This is Driving Home with Patti Vasquez, WCPT 820. We'll see you in a minute.
There's no better way to defend democracy in front of your fascist Republican friends than with a cold progressive beer from the Minocqua Brewing Company of Wisconsin. So head on over to Beer on the Wall in Schaumburg, Doty Liquors in Elmhurst, Captain Jack's Beverages in Worth, or the Wilmette Market to pick up a 4-pack or couple 2-3 of Maga Tears IPA today. Don't forget to drink and vote responsibly.
You're listening to Driving It Home with Patti Vasquez on WCPT 820.
And hello, this is Driving Home with Patti Vasquez here on WCPT 820. Happy Friday. I am Dan Schaefer filling in for Patti Vasquez. We have Judy on the line. Judy from Niles. Hello, my friend. How are you?
How are you? I called in to say Happy Christmas and Merry New Year and all that stuff. But while I was sitting out here, I was thinking, well, I know you have a couple teacher friends because I've spoken to a couple.
Yes.
Do they teach social studies anymore? Because all this stuff that they're talking about, like repeating something until people believe it, I remember learning about that. It was originally like Madison Avenue, who asked different colleges or universities to work on this, what works to sell something. And I can remember them saying, flag waving, that if you saw an ad that had a flag in the background, or they just were talking about your mom and apple pie, things like that would remind you.
Yeah.
And I think it would be a good idea if we I'm so surprised at what they've cut out. I don't think they take civics, and I'm really, I only taught little kids. But really, I have first and second grade. You'd be surprised what they know and what what you can get into their heads.
Yeah.
I had great conversations with many of them.
Well, I think
your niece and nephew are.
They're younger, yes. Oh, they're probably smarter than I am, to be honest. But 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 I agree. But I to your point, though, not from a civics perspective, from a grammar perspective, I always remember that the implied subject of an imperative sentence is "you understood," because that was repeated to me in my English class in grammar school. So, right, if it lacks a subject noun phrase, it is "you understood," and that was because it was just repeated to me over and over. Now, have I ever used that? No. But I remember it. But I do, to your point, though, Donald Trump has been using the repetition of all of his points. And if you repeat a lie so many times, it feels like truth, or it becomes truth to individuals, whether or not it is. But
and I got so angry with most of the news shows. In fact, I've turned them off since November.
Good on you.
I watch a few. I watch Rachel.
That's a safe space.
Yeah. Well, I'm kind of hoping she's made a bit of money. I was hoping she would buy a radio or TV station or a newspaper or something. That
would be nice, wouldn't it?
That's what we're going to need. We need those things, that we're going to need them a lot.
Yes, I agree with you.
And obviously it works. Because they don't care about people don't seem to care that much about except nerds like you and I, perhaps.
Well, that's true. I'm glad to be in good company.
About policy, or what it's going to be for me, and how they're talking to me. Are they talking to me like an idiot, or or saying stupid things like people are eating pets and.
Right.
So, stuff that you couldn't possibly believe, and yet they've managed.
Well, it's like you look at like Sinclair, who is a broadcast group, and they own hundreds of local news stations. And you could be watching, like, let's say Fox Chicago or ABC, assuming that they own whatever. So, like, what it's supposed to be local news, and they're just supposed to be reporting the news. You can sense the slight in the way that they're forming their stories, based on who owns them, right? And so
but we recognize that because I assume you also studied some of that.
I sure did. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I'm wondering if they don't. And critical thinking is another thing that's popped its head up. Do we teach that anymore?
That's a good question. I don't know. It's been a while since I've been in school, but yeah.
You?
Oh, I don't want to give an age.
I did volunteer, and sometimes I had higher grades than I was used to. But when they, I live across the street from the school, so when they got panicky, I was the one that they called. All they cared about is if they got to the end of the day was a adult in a room.
Oh, got it. Okay. Yeah. No, but I agree. I do think that there are, and it's interesting because then there's the attack on education from the right? So like they're saying that we're indoctrinating the children, we as collectively, but they're saying the education system is indoctrinating children with liberal viewpoints. But I don't think critical thinking is a liberal viewpoint. It's literally just taking a point and thinking through it and then forming your own conclusion based on the different variables or whatever that you feel that, and as long as you can back it up with basic evidence, you've thought through a problem and you found a solution. I don't think that's indoctrination. I think indoctrination is Fox News telling,
they don't want people who think well.
Right. Yeah. That's why they try to defund education,
Everything they say, turn it around. That's what they want to do.
Mm-hmm. And history, what is history, really? I mean, what can we learn? What can we learn from it?
Yeah, and you can.
A lot, actually. And if you don't, then you're, as they say, you're doomed to repeat it.
You're bound to repeat it.
Yeah.
That's phrase.
No, I agree with you. I think that I think that over the next 4 years, I forget who they put it was the cabinet nominee for education secretary, but I believe that it's a horribly unqualified individual.
Well, probably the last one that he had never set foot in a public school in her life.
Yeah. Linda McMahon. That's who it is. Yeah, so the former CEO of the World Wrestling Federation is going to be the Department of Education Secretary.
Wonderful.
Yeah. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, or World Wrestling Entertainment, sorry.
If it wasn't so sad, it would be funny.
Yeah, she was the head of the Small Business Administration. I'm not going to lie, she was actually decent at that role during COVID and stuff. She put out some good business loans and things.
Well, if she turns out to be decent, he'll fire her.
Yeah, well, she was good there. She didn't run away from him during all of it. But now apparently, I mean, I thought Betsy DeVos was a terrible education secretary, but now we got Linda McMahon. So we'll see. I don't know. I'm curious to see how much she donated to him and just kind of see how that parlayed into another cabinet role. But I don't know. This is higher up than the SBA, that's for sure. But yeah, again, I don't think she's qualified. She was on a school board once. That's what I'm reading. So I guess that makes that.
Why?
Yeah. And I think that she's probably I'm just assuming, a fan of charter schools and things of that sort. So I don't anticipate the public school system getting much support under her.
I ate a waffle once, but it doesn't qualify me to be a cook.
There you go. Exactly. So yeah. So I mean, I'm not super hopeful for the education system under this administration.
No, I'm not. And I see all that because I've been, in schools a good part of my life.
Yeah.
First in them, then teaching in them, then volunteering, because that was my expertise. So that was the way I tried to help.
Yeah. And that's good for you for doing that.
Oh, well, we were on the last child.
Okay.
And when he's in school, I could be there at the same time.
Okay. Yeah. Well,
we're happy to know that Niles is salting the streets.
That's good. Perfect. Niles has a really decent streets and sanitation system. I will admit that.
I hear they've told me that they go other places and give talks on how they manage to do it.
They should actually send them to Chicago. So, are you guys heading up north for the holidays, or are you guys staying down here?
Oh God, no. My cottage is extremely primitive.
So it's only for the summers.
Yeah, it's not even. I think there may be one room that has a bit of insulation.
Okay, got it.
And of course, you couldn't flush the toilet; it would be frozen.
Got it. Okay.
We put antifreeze in it.
Oh, okay. Well, that's smart. All right.
Otherwise, it's going to crack the toilet.
Yeah.
And it gets cracked a few. Not mine yet. Knock on wood.
Yeah.
But my sister's it was cracked twice.
Okay.
And somebody else's. Yeah, it's. There are a few people that now live on the lake.
Okay. Well, if it works for them, but I don't think that sounds like a very fun experience, personally, what you just explained.
I know a couple of people said, we're going to live and we're going to do crafts. But it really gets pretty bleak.
Yeah.
There's not that much. Well, unless you're big into snowmobiling. They are a huge snowmobiling area.
Yeah.
And
I went to school in Green Bay, Wisconsin, and we did a fraternity retreat up in Crivets, Wisconsin in the winter. And let me tell you, that was not, I feel you, that was not a pleasant experience. All right, Judy. Well, listen, I got to run, but you guys have a wonderful Christmas. And if I don't talk to you, a very happy New Year. And
I'm hoping.
Well, you know what? Let's enjoy the days.
I have a great deal of things to do. Like I have to take my driving test every year.
Yeah. Okay. Well, one day at a time, Judy. We got it. We got this.
I have to keep thinking that. Okay. Good to talk to you.
You too. Thank you. Have a good day. All right, let's take a quick break here. I think we're going to have a guest after the break here on Driving Home with Patti Vasquez on WCPT 820. We'll see you guys in a minute.
You're listening to Driving It Home with Patti Vasquez.
In your communities in Chicago.
On WCPT 820.
And hello, everybody. This is Driving Home with Patti Vasquez. Happy Friday. This is Dan Schaefer filling in for Patti here on WCPT 820. We had some really great callers, some of our regulars, which we love. We have a guest for this segment, Dion from Dion Chicago Dream, who started an organization with 3 very simple tenements: feed families, create community, and fuel hope. Dion, how are you today?
I'm all right, Dan. How are you doing today?
I'm doing well. Can you do me a favor just to explain, first of all, introduce yourself, and then I was reading through your website earlier today, and this is an amazing organization. I want to know what prompted you to start something like this up.
Oh, yeah. Dion Dawson. I'm the founder and chief dreamer of Dion Chicago Dream. We're a nonprofit social enterprise that fights food insecurity and centers health equity through last mile delivery and logistics. And, you know, what that really looks and presents as is, you know, us being able to have award-winning programming with food interventions that, you know, provides fresh produce, all brand new produce to households all over Cook County. So, you know, what started in 2020 with you know, no money and a community fridge has grown to provide more than 2 million pounds of fresh produce in the last 3 years that we've purchased, packed, and delivered. And, you know, when it comes to just starting it, it was really just about, you know, learning from the pandemic, you know, what we need to do to really innovate and evolve how we feed people and really, like, focus health equity.
Amazing. So I want to start off where you mentioned and then kind of expand into where you guys are now. So a community fridge. What was a community fridge considered?
Well, a community fridge is basically a refrigerator that's outside. Okay. And these, you know, in the early days of the pandemic, was started, you know, in the UK. It became popular here. And the premise of them is really give a little, get a little. And so you have the fridge. If you have something, you can put it in there. If you need something, you go get it. But the problem with areas like Inglewood, where I'm from, and a lot of other areas in the Chicagoland area, is that even if you put a fridge outside in areas where they don't have anything, it's very unlikely that what will be put in there is fresh produce or something, you know, fresh, vibrant, like fruits and vegetables. And so, you know, that's what we started with. We started with a literal refrigerator outside in 2020, outside of a liquor store in Inglewood.
Okay. And then, so from that, what was the experience expanding into what you have, which is a very vast operation today?
Well, I mean, it was really about evolving and figuring out where we were going to land with our programming. And what we saw in the pandemic was that, you know, we didn't have a food problem. We had a food distribution problem. And so, you know, we created an award-winning program that's direct to consumer, where we deliver our fresh produce boxes directly to households. And so, you know, it's been really about creating jobs. We've never recorded a single volunteer hour in, you know, 4 years, and we pay at least $20 an hour. And we've created 45 jobs. And so we have 45 employees, of which more than 75% are full-time. And we've been able to really sustain our operations in a way where we can provide a household with a week's worth of brand new fruits and vegetables. And this is what it really was about for us. It was really about trying to find a way that we can be sure that not only are we stabilizing that access, but we're also stabilizing the quality that we give them access to.
Okay. And one of the coolest that I found, one of your offerings, it's very similar to like an Amazon box pickup, and you call it the Dream Vault. Can you explain how that works?
Oh, yeah. The Dream Vault is just like an Amazon locker. It's a network-enabled locker system where we can enroll up to 125 households or 175 households within a 1 mile radius. They get their code. So when the vault is loaded with our Dream Deliveries box, that family who's assigned to that locker will get a notification and a pickup code. They go right to that vault. They pick up, they put the code in, and then their locker will open. and that gives them a dignified way of picking up fresh produce in their neighborhood, and it really allows us to bring that innovation, technology, and advancements to the people who need it the most.
I think this is amazing. And you've been able to impact how many individuals?
Oh, I mean, for us, we've been able, we try to, talk about the amount of households. We've been able to scale up to right now we're delivering in 160 zip codes every week, and we're delivering to more than 4,300 households per week.
That's amazing. And it's all fresh. And you partner with, you have local partners?
Well, no, we actually source from Jab Produce. We've never taken a single piece of donated food. Okay. All 2 million pounds have been brand new, fresh produce, fresher than what you see in the store.
Oh wow! Okay, that's amazing as well. And so you said that. So what are the areas that you are largely focusing? What areas of Chicago?
Oh, no. I mean, we've been lucky enough to grow, but we don't focus on the area. We focus on the people. Okay. And that's why we're in 160 different zip codes, because food insecurity really shows up and presents itself in a lot of different shapes and sizes. And so, what we pride ourselves on being a Black-led organization that created a universal solution. And so as a result, we can exist wherever food insecurity is, and we can bring our award-winning programming there.
That's amazing. How have you found any obstacles into expanding and growing your outreach? Or better put, have you found any partnerships that have been beneficial to you?
I mean, we have a lot of great partners, but, when we talk, I just like to touch on, when you said, has there been any problems? Absolutely not. I'm lucky enough to lead this organization, grow it and scale it, to be a multi-million-dollar social enterprise, but it's really about the people. Yeah. And when we think about what a lot of people have to go through, I'm really honored every single day, and I bring that fire and that tenacity with me every single day in every single room that I'm in. And it's really about understanding that, this is something that I was put on this earth to do. And so when we talk about problems, the problem is not knowing where that fresh produce will come from, if it's going to come from anywhere. Yeah. But for us to provide it, not at all. I have a great team. I said we're at 45 team members. Every last one of them have committed themselves to kicking butt and really, locking in on, what we can really do. And so when we think about, our part is not hard, it's not easy, but it's necessary. And when we talk about partners, I mean, we have partners from, the Chicago Bulls to, the Joyce Foundation, to the Chicago Community Trust, to the Chicago Sky, to Walgreens, to the American Diabetes Association. We just launched a Dream Vault with our partners at Discover at their center in Chatham. But we have amazing partners who allow us to really be able to do the things that we need to do to really, kind of evolve how we kind of meet these nutrition gaps.
Yeah, because I know a lot of discussion around Chicago, especially on the south and the west sides, have been food deserts is the topic, right? So you have limited access to fresh fruits and vegetables, sustainable food sources, and like you just mentioned, like bridging that gap is seems like something that your organization is doing really, really well.
Absolutely, and we, we know that there's always going to be work, but we're here to meet that demand and make sure that we can really bring that quality and that access back to direct services, direct programs, and social services.
Yeah. So if for listeners that are just learning about this organization for the first time, how can they support you? What would be the best way to kind of help you guys continue doing this great work?
Well, I mean, first and foremost, it's really about sharing, what we're doing. Our model is really, the more people that know that this is possible, the more that other organizations can really commit to creating jobs and really doing things different. So, following us on every social media platform at Dion Chicago Dream, but also going to our website and becoming a monthly donor. Being a monthly donor of $5, $10, $20, $30, $50, that allows us to continue to create the jobs It allows us to continue to purchase the produce locally, and it also allows us to make sure that we're really stabilizing that access. And then the rest is on us.
Okay. Well, I think that you're doing great work, especially around the holiday season. This is something that will really help a lot of families, but also people tend to focus on food scarcity during the holidays, but we tend to forget that it's actually a 12-month issue for many, many families, and it seems to be that you guys are doing a fabulous job addressing this issue. Amazing. Thank you for the work that you're doing, my friend.
Oh, likewise.
Yeah.
Thank you, guys. I'm a longtime friend and listener of this show. Thank you for filling in, and thank you for making space for allowing me to just talk about the work a little bit. And everybody out there, thank you guys for listening and sharing all of this. And it's really just about being the best version of ourselves that we can be.
That's the best way to put it, my friend Dion. All right, you have a great holiday season, okay? And thank you for doing all this work. If anybody wants to help out, it's DionChicagoDream.com. Follow them on all the social medias at DionChicagoDream. And if you want to become a monthly donor, that will help them continue this work. So thanks, Dion. Have a great rest of your day.
No problem at all, Dan. Let's stay warm. You have a great day.
Thanks, you too. All right, we're going to take a break here. This is Driving It Home with Patti Vasquez. This is Dan Schaefer filling in here on WCPT 820, and we'll see you all in a minute.
You're listening to Driving It Home with Patti Vasquez.
In your communities in Chicago.
On WCPT 820.
Hello, everybody. Happy Friday. This is Driving It Home with Patti Vasquez. This is Dan Schaefer filling in for Patti. Friday before Christmas. Hope you get all your shopping done, because I definitely don't. But we've got a lot of stuff. Apparently, the House did pass the the funding bill, or spending package, we'll call it, amidst the chaos infused by Musk and Trump. And we're reading through some of that, but we can touch on that probably in the next hour. But Dave has been very patient on the line. Dave from Hoffman Estates. Hi, friend. How are you?
Hey, hello.
Hello.
I'm surprised nobody mentioned anything today about where Neil Cavuto called it quits.
Oh, yeah, he retired, or he's moving on. I don't know what it was.
Yeah, I think he's bailing out before, the Lord Dennis, gets it, because I guess he wasn't in favor of Cavuto, because Cavuto kind of was one of the few left there that will let you know that the king has no clothes on,
I actually enjoyed some of the things that he talked about. Did I agree with him all the time? No, but I actually didn't hate him like I do most of the other. Hate is a strong word, but I'm still going to use it. But I didn't hate him.
Right. Well, from like what I've seen and heard of him, it sounded like that he tried to be one of them, I suppose, fair and balanced, as they say,
right.
But didn't exactly, act like a Lenin and follow him off the cliff, with that crazy stuff they're talking about.
Yeah. He was one of the more level-headed individuals that was in that organization, or, the main hosts.
Yeah, and something like he had some kind of health stuff through the years, like MS or something. And
I didn't know that. Okay.
COVID stuff in that order too. So maybe that might be,
that could be okay. Well, he needs, take care of yourself first. That's the.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And next year, just think, you won't have to, when you do the decorating on the tree, and that you can do like Melania and have a red Christmas tree in the hallways and that all red.
I was joking with some friends about how she's probably so angry the fact that they won, because now she has to do Christmas for the next 4 years, and that's probably one of the things that she's like, God bless it. Okay.
He's as much of a grifter in that as he is, so I don't know.
Oh, she's probably going to. They're probably already in production for next year, like her own Melania Christmas tree. Buy your own for $400 or something.
Yeah, or if you get one of them jackets again too. I don't really give a damn.
Yeah, I don't care. I don't really care. Yeah, something like that. Yeah. Yeah, no, I don't think that she's looking forward to doing any of the first lady duties in any way, shape, or form.
No.
And it's funny because today I was watching again, because I watch Fox News more than I should. I think it was on Outnumbered. It was Outnumbered, and they had all the B-rated hosts because I think everybody ditched town for vacation for the holidays or whatever. But they were talking about how Jill Biden basically made it a point to hide, quote unquote, Joe's cognitive decline just because she wanted to hang on to being first lady, just to be able to jet across the world and do this and do all the things and go to all the fancy galas and things like that. And I'm like, the Bidens do not strike me as individuals who like big, fancy and gaudy things. I mean, Donald Trump is the one with a gold toilet, number one. And I feel like, I don't think that, but the fact that they're trying to portray Jill Biden, who probably is one of the most like humble first ladies that I've ever experienced, right? And the fact that they're trying to portray her as this extravagant person who just wanted to just keep quote unquote grifting continue getting all the benefits of being first lady. I think they're projecting is really what they're doing because. Can you just see what Melania is going to be doing over the next 4 years? If we see her, I don't even think we'll see her. But, I don't know.
She's the one that they had to pay her to go to Milwaukee or whatever.
Yeah, they had to pay her to attend her husband's own campaign event. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, hello.
Let's talk about that.
Yeah, and that's pointing back at you, So, no, like you say about Joe Biden, I also thought, too, that she seemed very humble and that along the lines of, First Lady, who I think was the best in history, Eleanor Roosevelt.
Yeah, I would agree.
A very, very common lady who fought for the women and blacks and women and all of them, so.
Yeah. I would say, and me myself, I'm a Democrat. I was a Republican. I love Laura Bush. I'm a Laura Bush fan. Like, for sure. Just a very elegant individual. And also I love Michelle Obama. Hillary Clinton was good for, and now Dr. Jill Biden, I love, but it's, yeah. Yeah.
On Laura Bush, though, correct me if I'm wrong, when she was young, like around 16, didn't she hit somebody?
Yeah, there was a tragic accident for sure, yes.
But you're right, though, as the First Lady, though, she was very, very not gaudy and all of that kind of stuff, like Nancy Reagan and stuff.
Yeah, yes.
That area.
Right. She was also no Barbara Bush, because Barbara Bush was kind of, from what I understand, a very difficult person and a very hard-lined individual. But
yeah. Oh, yeah, that time, like when old man Bush was puking in the Japanese guy's lap that time. Remember, she's the one that kind of...
Oh, yeah, that's right. I remember that. Uh-huh.
Yeah. So,
I remember the video. I was a little young, but yeah.
Yeah. A long time ago, but it's a little TMI. But remember, Barbara, Bush was the.
There are a lot of good books about the First Ladies and about their experiences and their contributions, and I do think in many cases they are very underrated. I'm just going to throw that out there.
Yeah, yeah. Well, it wasn't getting back to Eleanor Roosevelt. She was the one that kind of, was almost like the first female president too. She did a lot of stuff for Franklin.
Yes.
Speeches and,
all behind the scenes.
That kind of stuff, pushed them to the right direction and stuff. So, and that's why she's like, obviously I wasn't around at the time, but from what I've read and seen that.
And then also it was technically President Wilson, his wife, Edith, was actually this is like in the 1900s, or late 1800s, early 1900s, because I think he suffered some type of a debilitating illness, and she basically ran the White House while he was in bed. So technically, we have already had a first woman president. And then when Reagan was starting to slip with Alzheimer's, Nancy stepped in. And I'm not going to lie, I'm thinking Jill maybe helped Joe with a lot of things in his current role towards the latter part of his term. I'm assuming. And so I think that first ladies do a lot more than they are given credit for.
Yep.
And they're doing it for their husband's legacy, which I think is, we have to talk about that whole, premise, but, yeah.
Hey, Dan?
Yeah.
Do you know offhand, are they going to be having a live show on Wednesday, or is it going to be a best of?
That I don't know. Patty normally likes to work on holidays, but I don't know if she is going to. I know Joan's having people fill in for her. Patty likes to do live shows, but I'm not sure if she's going to be doing both Christmas Eve or Christmas Day. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I'm just curious because I still think back to the days of Dick Cave when it happened, a hit like that, where his show happened, was on that Saturday, Christmas was. And he did a little different. He kind of took a détente from all the politics and that. And he played like Christmas tunes, a couple here, and then he'd go and talk about, just great memories of Christmas.
I remember when he would do that because we would be driving to family dinners, and I would have Dick Kay on. And what a good guy. He was such a good guy.
Oh, he was my man. I was there with him since day one, when he was with Jerry Springer to find out if he had the chops yet.
I do not remember that. But
Springer kind of just went, he's cool. And then then to the end, so I always like to say I was there from the Alpha to the Omega with Dick Case. He just... And then, like, when he had the 10 years, then I had emailed Rob, the guy that used to do all the paper in the paper, Rob Peter, about that. And I just felt, he needs to get some kind of recognition because not too many stations were on 10 years,
Yeah.
There were so few and far between, especially in Chicago, so...
One of my favorite memories of Dick Kay is when, I think it was during COVID, when I think people from the station had to work from home. And I think, Paul, that was you helping him with technology.
Yeah, that's correct.
And so whenever, he couldn't hear anybody, he'd be like, Paul, what's Paul? Paul? Can I, Paul?
Yes.
And I remember my husband and I were, staining my mother's deck, in the back one day on a Saturday, and we're just listening, and we would just hear Dick over and over, like, hello? Hello?
Multiple people would line up here and watch me just sweat this out at 1 o'clock every Saturday? Yes.
But it was so funny, and it was funny because it was Dick Kay, and it was good.
Yeah, I remember when he first started out, though, it was only a 2-hour show.
Yeah.
From noon to 2 o'clock or something. And then there was that other group that had a restaurant that a couple of young guys, and they gave an ultimatum, more or less, and they lost. We won. We got an extra hour of Dick Kay.
Yeah, you don't come up against Dick Kay. I mean, that's pretty much it. And I also love the fact that his wife's name was Kay, so that's also funny.
But he's the one that why they got my station, because he was the popular one and people started to listen.
Yeah. So really good guy.
Who else right there, But no, that was already about 13 plus years ago, and I miss that though. I still miss the man, and
he was a good guy. Yeah. I never met him in person, but from everybody.
Because he changed the way I think, some of my thinking, some for the good, some for the bad. But
well, and if you disagreed with him, he would call you out with a snap of a finger, and he, there was no room for malarkey on his show. Dave, I got to run to a break.
So cool. Yep. Hey, you have a Merry Christmas.
You too, my friend. Thank you for calling in. Merry Christmas, and if I talked to you before that, Happy New Year.
Yes, likewise. Bye.
All right, have a good one. This is Driving Home with Patti Vasquez here on WCPT. We're going to take a break for news at the top of the hour. This is Dan Schaefer filling in, and we will talk to you all after that.
Driving it home with Patti Vasquez, Patti Vasquez. From global conflicts to greenhouse gases, the folks refusing to wear masks says, and politicians getting caught grabbing asses says, she's driving it home with Patti Vasquez.
Hello, everybody. Happy Friday. This is Driving Home with Patti Vasquez. I am Dan Schaefer filling in for Patti. Friday before Christmas. Just keep reminding everybody, get your shopping done. Or don't. Sometimes just experiences and things like that are good. You don't have to buy physical things. If you're any of my nieces or nephews, you don't need any more physical things. And so I don't think they're listening, but it doesn't matter. They're not going to remember anyway. But I'm taking them to the trampoline park one of these days while they're on winter break. So it's actually a really fun experience even for me. I love jumping around like a fool. So, and they have a great time. So it's perfect. So we had some great callers. We had a really awesome guest on last hour, Dion from Dion Chicago Dream. And if you want to follow them on all social media, Dion Chicago Dream. And it's DionChicagoDream.com. And you can read all about the work that they're doing in terms of addressing food scarcity across the city. And if you can help out, by all means. It sounds like a really great organization, and they are helping people that need it most, especially this holiday season, but also year-round. So check them out, and if you can help, please do. So I did mention right before we took Dave's call that the House did pass the spending package by 366 to 34. So it had 196 Democrats and 170 Republicans. So it's interesting that even though Republicans control the House, they had more Democratic votes. But we've seen that before. So that's interesting. It did keep in the $110 billion for disaster aid for situations like hurricanes, which we've had a couple of those within weeks of each other. So that's much needed. I do want to the individuals that were trying to pull this part out. Sure, it is aid for the existing disasters that have currently happened, but we are entering a winter, and, God forbid something happens in like Texas that happened before where they freeze over, or other communities where they have some massive storms that knocks out power and, other resources. The government needs to be able to have the funds to step in and assist. And, I call it these capitalists or these anti-government individuals. They're all anti-government until they need the government. And so if the government doesn't have the funding, then it's kind of like, all right, well, we'd love to help, but you voted to not give us the funds. So what are we going to do, right? So that got put back in. The one-year farm bill extension, but it did strip the one of Trump's demands, which was the debt limit extension. So suspending the debt limit would essentially give, for the next 2 years, the ability to just spend without any limitations on the debt ceiling. And what happens when that is there are things like tax breaks that gets pushed through, and whether or not they're paid for, it doesn't matter. We saw that with the first tax break that Donald Trump pushed through, the $2 trillion, which ended up benefiting more of the billionaires than the average American. So thankfully that's not part of that. What'll happen next year, I don't know. We shall see. But I do think that we are entering into a House with even fewer Republican seats because a few were picked for cabinet roles. So there's going to be some empty seats until those are filled. So it's going to be a very, very slim margin, which actually does give some Democrats power in the House. The Senate, we don't really have much of a pull there, but I do think for the short period until they fill those seats in the House, the Democrats will have some pull, but it also gives some of the Republicans even more power because they can't lose. In some cases, they probably can't lose any votes. And so it gives one or two Republicans in the House even more, it's like when Democrats took control of the Senate, but it was still a 50-50 split with Kamala Harris being the tiebreaker. Joe Manchin was the most powerful man in America at that point, right? Because you only needed to lose one, in certain cases. And then Kyrsten Sinema decided to abandon her party as well. But so it's not going to be an easy street. They're not going to be an easy street in the Republican House starting next year. It's going to be an interesting thing. And I think Mike Johnson is probably, maybe regretting taking his job or going for the job, especially now that Elon Musk is in the mix. But it's going to be interesting when they try to do certain things that they've and honestly, when I think back to the presidential election, I can't really remember any type of actual policy that Donald Trump ran on. In general, sure, secure the borders. How are you going to do that? What's the plan, right? Bring down food prices. Well, he's already said that that's harder to do than one would think. Healthcare. All I know is there's a concept of a plan, but good luck getting anything healthcare related through that House of Representatives. Because his first term when he controlled all three branches, they couldn't repeal Obamacare, and that's what he ran on. And we can thank John McCain for that, because that did take somebody coming across the aisle. And so I think what we're realizing now, and I don't understand why we didn't realize this in the first term, is that Republicans can't govern. They're very good at messaging. They're very good at chaos, but they're not really good at being in charge. And we can look back at George H.W. Bush. He didn't hand off a terrible economy to Clinton. George W. Bush handed off an awful economy to Obama. And then Obama had to fix it, and Obama handed off a very nice economy to Trump, and then Trump handed off a very terrible economy to Biden, and Biden is handing off a very decent economy to Trump. Again, I never thought I would say that, actually, now that you mention it. Now that I mention it. And God only knows, and is the economy where it needs to be? No, but it's in a much better place, and in many cases we are kind of in the envy of the world, especially in terms of inflation. And I don't know where we're going to go from here, honestly. I really don't. Deregulating stuff, as we've noticed, it number one, it brings down the quality of items because there's less oversight in terms of safety and regulation and things of that sort. It may bring down prices, but probably not, because capitalism, once companies realize that consumers are able or willing to pay certain prices, it's very rare that they're going to go down that much. Like gas prices, they may go down 20 cents here, 20 cents there. It's not, don't expect a huge, decline in prices for that. What you can expect a huge decline in is the quality of products or oversight or quality controls that are going into production, which may then affect the end user and consumer. That's one thing that you can expect with deregulation, kind of like how they deregulated the housing market, and how did that work out in 2008, 2009. So yeah, that's I think what we're looking toward. But at the very least, provided the Senate goes in, and they said that they were going to pass this as quickly as possible to avoid a midnight deadline where we would shut down, essentially. Okay, I'm hoping that we can at least keep the government funded. It doesn't, again, and that's the thing, like they keep editing this document, this agreement or the spending package, like over and over and over again. Like, how do you have a time to read this before you have to vote on it, let alone how do we as Americans have time to read it to see what our representatives are voting on, right? And so it's kind of like, like when I was in corporate, when you had a deadline of, I don't know, December 20th at midnight, you would have your first draft done like in November for first pass. Then it would go through review. Then you'd maybe like mid-November have another review. Beginning of December have another review. And then, so it's not like we're like doing all this stuff last minute and everybody knew what was in there. We don't exactly know what's in this thing. And that was also like the Republicans' arguments during like Obamacare and all this stuff. Like, we don't know what's in the package. I don't know what's in this continuing resolution. Yet our representatives are voting on it. And all we know is that hopefully the government doesn't shut down. The fact that more Democrats than Republicans voted for it in the House gives me some type of comfort. I'm assuming it's going to overwhelmingly pass in the Senate, just because I'm just assuming that's the way it's going to go. And then we will have a functioning government until March of next year. And that's another thing. Can't we just get an actual budget? Can't we just stop kicking the can down the road? That's my personal opinion, but that's above my pay grade. Paul, let's take a quick break, and we have Paul on the line. We'll take Paul's call after this break. This is Driving Home with Patti Vasquez. I'm Dan Schaefer, filling in here on WCPT 820 Heartland Signal.
Hey, it's Patty here, reminding you that Monaco Brewing Company's progressive beers like Maga Tears IPA, Biden Beer, and the LGBTQ-inspired Love Wins Fruited Sour are now available at Chicagoland locations like Armanetti Wine and Spirits in Woodstock, Beer Shop in Oak Park, McLean Liquors in South Elgin, Beer on Central in Evanston, and My Buddies, a pride-friendly bar on Clark in Chicago. Don't forget to drink and vote responsibly.
You're listening to Driving It Home with Patti Vasquez on WCPT 820.
Hello, everybody. This is Driving Home with Patti Vasquez. I'm Dan Schaefer, filling in on this Friday. Paul and I were just chatting about Christmas plans. I just mentioned that I found a killer deal on a ham at Jewel today for $6 for like an 11-pound ham. So if you're looking for any last-minute stuff, Jewel's got some pretty decent deals out there. So, but let's chat with Paul from Seattle, who's on the line. Hey, Paul, how are you today?
I'm hanging in there, Dan. But you said the magic words, budget.
Okay.
And, yeah, I mean, I'm going to sound like a skipped record on WCPT because I've said it already, but we have not had a budget. By that I mean
a balanced budget.
A law that describes revenues and expenditures since 2008.
Yeah, correct.
We've been doing the kick the can, omnibus spending bills ever since Obama took office because the Republicans, whenever Obama submitted a budget is really a deal between the president and the president submits the budget. The president proposes, as Norman Goldman used to say, the president proposes, the Congress disposes.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
And whenever Obama would propose a budget, even when it would pass in the House, when the Democrats held the House, it was, even if the Democrats held the Senate as well, the Republicans filibustered every budget.
Yep.
And, of course, then we get to Trump. He never submitted a budget. I mean, it's like they said, the Republicans said during the John Boehner years and Paul Ryan years, we don't trust Obama to abide by the budget, which is stupid because it's a law, right?
Right.
But then why don't we have a budget when Trump gets in it? Because if you have a budget, you can't have big tax cuts for the billionaires because that affects your revenues, right?
Well, I was going to say the budget, if Donald Trump didn't have a budget, because Donald Trump never actually wants to submit or complete any task that is required. But yes, but I agree with you. You have to actually stick to the law that is in place.
Right. You can't have tax cuts, and that's always what they're pushing for is tax cuts for the billionaires. So they get their tax cuts. They also are full of entitlements. Elon Musk is the biggest welfare queen, thank you, Ronald Reagan, on the planet.
Tesla, how much money did he get from the government? $46 million or something? Yeah.
I bet he gets billions.
Yeah.
I mean, he's got SpaceX, he's got Tesla, he's got...
And it's only just beginning,
all
Paul.
Kinds of subsidies. But, that entitlements they describe, Social Security, Medicare, are not entitlements. They are earned benefits because we pay into them.
Yep.
Entitlements are programs or benefits that the recipient doesn't pay into directly but may qualify by the criteria of the application. And that includes things like military contracts and even to become a Medicaid health provider or a Medicare Advantage provider. Those are entitlements, and they get billions from Medicare.
Yep.
So no kidding. This is the way what Republicans have realized. They don't want small government because what they've realized is the way to get rich is to get the public monies tapped into private hands. Nobody gets to be billionaires through just you don't get to be a billionaire from just everyday John and Jane.
You're not building it up on your own. You're not like getting. Right.
You have to get big contracts where you get billions, and that's what military contracts are all about. I mean, look, we have $1 trillion a year military, but I was just wondering, is that, taking guesses, I bet they will in 4 years, they'll add 10 trillion or more to the debt, and we are going to be pushing over $50 trillion national debt, and it's all because Donald Trump, he doesn't want. He'd rather close the government down so that Elon Musk can have his entitlements and his tax cuts. And so they run up the credit card, our credit card, and then when it's something that we want, then no, there's no money for you.
Something it's basic like healthcare, random. Yeah. No, I think it'll be interesting with a company or with an organization or a arm of the government called Doge, and then all of a sudden, our debt quadruples. Really, you're doing a really great job. Efficiency, cool. Yep.
Well, it's kind of like where the money went. They like to say that the money's just I have MAGA members of my family say there's plenty of money. They're just giving it to the wrong people. I said well who are they giving it to? Right. And, of course, it's always, people of color. And I was like, well, then those people, those people should be rich. Yeah. If we go into a restaurant and we run up the credit card and I walk out hungry, then you must be happy, fat, and sassy, right? If one of us is still hungry.
Exactly.
And that's what happens.
Well, it's also like during COVID, the PPP loans, all of those were forgivable. Yep. A lot of those companies didn't need it, but it was available, and so they took advantage. I can't blame them for doing it. It was the way that the bill was written. I've heard stories about individuals who didn't need it, went out and bought a house, and it was a forgivable loan. And as long as they show that they continued their payroll, that they were in line with what it was. And so that, to me, that's a handout technically, but
for sure.
But I agree with you completely on that.
Marjorie Taylor Greene got a big one and never paid it back.
Brett Favre, I don't know, I'm not a sports guy. Didn't he do something that he shouldn't have done?
Oh, that was but of course, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know, sports. I'm not
facility that he. Yeah. Everybody's got their hand out, and yet they want to promote the idea that it's always, the welfare queen, the Ronald Reagan model of the welfare queen, and that it's a person of color, and they don't work. And look, I have to wonder, if you make billions of dollars, what job pays that kind of hourly rate?
Yeah. Right, to do literally nothing, by the way, unless you want to disrupt the entire United States government, but yeah.
To talk on the phone, really. Yeah. That's what you're doing is you're talking on the phone, and then you go tell somebody, do this, and you tell some lawyers, write this up. Yeah, they really don't do any work themselves.
No, not at all.
There's not anybody who has to get up and go, oh, God, I can't believe I have to go to work again today, or I can't feed my family, or I can't,
Well, and Paul, I have this theory. It's an alleged theory, so it does not in any way, shape, or form reflect WCPT or Patti Vasquez or anything. But I would not be surprised if suddenly NASA gets privatized into SpaceX. Just my theory. Just throwing it out there. Elon Musk is not an appointed cabinet position, so he does not have to divest or put anything to a blind trust. And so all of the things that he's doing, he could do. And, it's going to be an interesting, like I said, he's invested a lot of money into this administration. He didn't do it for nothing.
Yeah, and then, of course, they're talking about the post office, which, by the way, it would be a disaster if the post office were privatized.
Absolutely.
Or discontinued. I mean, people, I think in a lot of ways, it became popular to make fun of the post office from, 1980s stand-up comics. But the post office, I mean, think about it. In those days, I did hear one comedian say, oh, yeah, what a ripoff. You have to put 20 cents on something and it can go anywhere. What a ripoff. 20 cents to send it. It's like, we don't realize how, you wait till you have to send, a card, a birthday card or a card to a relative, a child, and it runs you like $4 or $5.
Yeah, if you go through like UPS or if that's your only option, then yeah, right.
Yeah. Yeah, sure would.
And I honestly think we should go the opposite way. I think that we should give more responsibility to the post office. I think Joan has talked about this before, about a post office banking system where individuals have access to banks so they don't have to go through high interest lenders and stuff like that, and they can just go to their local post office and cash a check or things of that sort. Conservatives hate that because they're like, have you ever seen, can you imagine what that would look like? And I was like, honestly, it actually probably would be pretty efficient.
Yeah, that would be great. In 2006, the Republican Congress passed the Postal Enhancement and Accountability Act. That was the one that made the post office pay their retirement 75 years in advance
because they were going to do
the post office.
Yeah.
And the reason that was happening is because the post office was about to go big electric on all of their Jeep vehicles. Mm-hmm. And who do you think is the biggest consumer of gasoline?
I was going to say it's the largest oil fleet in the world. I think, right?
Yep. Yeah. And the oil companies went, oh no, you're not going to go electric, because all these delivery Jeeps, the little Jeep that your postal carrier comes up, they don't need electric. They could go a whole week on a charge.
Yeah.
Because their route is not very long, and
you drive a couple of blocks, you park. You drive a couple of blocks, you park. Yeah.
Yeah, or the ones that fill from the window. Those guys are not driving. They're just filling. a. They could, that's maybe they do 30 miles in a day of the round trip, but they're not. That's easily a week. You could do it a week on a charge, and that would have saved so much. And the Republicans tried to break that, and if that's all they want to do is break government and privatize it and put our tax dollars into the hands of the rich, and that's the big grift that Donald Trump is all about, because he's nothing but grift. He doesn't have a lick of talent of any kind, and not even one half a brain cell. He's nothing but a liar. And you know what? The people. I heard some woman on the news earlier today from Oregon said, you don't think he's doing a great job? He's getting everything all set up and ready to go. It's like he's ready to shut down the government when he's set up.
Oh, man. Paul, I got to go to a break. Do you mind hanging on?
Yeah. Yeah, I'll hang on.
I always enjoy talking with you. So, okay, cool. I just don't want to, otherwise I get yelled at if we miss a break. So I don't like getting yelled at here. The other Paul in here is very mean. All right. Wow. So this is Driving Home with Patti Vasquez. This is Dan Schaefer. We will come back after this break, and we'll continue with Paul from Seattle.
Hey there, it's your guy, Warren Price from European and U.S. Collision Repair, a division of Technocraft Body Shops. We specialize in automobile and truck repair as well as normal automobile maintenance. With our highly skilled technicians and environmentally friendly materials, we strive for quality. Call 773-248-1200. That's 773-248-1200 or EuropeanUS.com.
You're listening to Driving It Home with Patti Vasquez.
In your communities in Chicago.
On WCPT 820.
Hello, everybody. This is Driving Home with Patti Vasquez. This is Dan Schaefer filling in here on WCPT 820, Heartline Signal. I do want to just mention Bob from Chicago called in during the break and wanted to just point out that this country is currently being run by two immigrants, Elon Musk and Rupert Murdoch, which as I was Googling that, it's not... he's not wrong. I think October I was seeing some articles about a shady meeting between both Musk and Murdoch. And then as I'm scrolling down, there's a couple of other titles that say, "Move over, Murdoch. Musk is in the show now, or is in the chair now," which is interesting because I do remember when Biden won the election, especially when Arizona was called, Murdoch basically, or Trump was trying to call Murdoch, or Murdoch told people to call Trump and be like, it's done. And so I guess Trump just kicked Murdoch to the curb and found himself another billionaire. So anywho, we were chatting with Paul from Seattle about, it started with the budget, but then we started talking about other things such as the Postal Service and things of that sort. So, Paul, what do you think is going to happen to the overall deficit and debt in the next 4 years under a Trump presidency?
Well, as they say, the best predictor of the future is past performance. And Donald Trump ran up. Yeah, Donald Trump. Yeah, Donald Trump.
Honestly, I think that fits.
Yeah, that's fine. I won't say it was a Freudian slip. It was just. But he ran up the highest the highest debt and deficit, huge federal spending during his first, and that's what they're going to do again. I mean, like I said, I think that the debt they will add probably over $10 trillion in 4 years. But I think this, we're at about, I think, $35 trillion. I looked up recently, it was about that, and it's going to be over $45 trillion. It might be $46 or $47 trillion. I just think they're going to spend wildly because that's what they always do. That's what when you look at the history, think of it this way. We're at $35 trillion now. Mm-hmm. When Ronald Reagan took office at the end of Jimmy Carter's term, the national debt was at $800 billion.
Right.
Less than a trillion.
Yeah.
Less than a 0.8 trillion. And so essentially we've run up in 44 years, $35 trillion in debt. Mm-hmm. And the most of this has been under Republicans. I mean, Ronald Reagan and George H.W. Bush quadrupled the debt. Quadrupled it.
And then under W, 2 wars didn't help.
Yep, 2 wars that were off the books, but
yeah,
still
well,
on
yeah,
the
that's
books.
true. Yeah,
and it was and Trump. Remember, he's just been only in there for 4 years.
Well, it's interesting because Trump, when he decides to spend money, he doesn't really ever anticipate paying it back, right? So it's just like, do it, and then we'll just clear bankruptcy, right? Because that's his. I mean, he put like 4 times, whatever. Whereas Joe Biden, during his first 4 years, most of his pieces of legislation or proposals have largely been budget neutral. So they're paid for. Whereas Donald Trump's is like, no, let's just do it. But how are we going to pay for it? No, let's just do it. And that's not how it works.
What happened look at the infrastructure bill. Remember, we had the Build Back Better that didn't pass?
Right.
But the so-called bipartisan infrastructure bill passed. Every bit of it was on the debt, because the reason Build Back Better didn't pass is because it had commensurate tax increases.
Yeah.
For the wealthy. So the wealthy want the infrastructure, and by the way, they use it.
Oh, they're bragging on it.
They can't make money without it.
Right.
They're the ones who are actually using, like I said, in the restaurant, they're the ones who ordered steak and lobster while we ate oatmeal.
Yeah.
So that's why when a credit card bill comes up, it's I remember one time in a restaurant, we were passing around the bill, and I was just kidding around, but I said, holy cow, who ordered all the gratuity? It's like, I said, I didn't get any of that. So anyway, it was, they're the ones who are using all of the, I mean, like I said, if it were us common people who were getting the benefit of all this, we'd be richer.
Exactly. Mm-hmm.
Because somebody owes this money. Somebody owes this money. Somebody has this. This money is somewhere.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's gone to the rich over the past 44 years since Ronald Reagan, or 40. Yeah.
And if God forbid that money was used toward, like we talked about before, access to healthcare or access to basic things like food or housing, or that would be. Like Kamala Harris had plans for a lot of these things, right? First-time home buyers, first-time business owners who wanted to start your own business. Like, there would be money there. That money would come from wherever all of this money that's currently sitting out there was.
One thing I want to... Sorry, go ahead.
Go on. No, you go.
Yeah, I wanted to change gears a little bit here. I heard a caller, I think it was this week's, say to, maybe it was to Joan, or that the Democrats they got to just give up this identity politics. And I think Joan said the right thing. Democrats don't play identity politics. That is all the right wing. I mean, nobody goes around. I mean, Kamala Harris and her race and ethnicity is nothing she ever brought up.
No, right. It was brought up and she had to respond to it.
Yeah, exactly. And so, in other words, if I defend somebody's right to self-determination, then I'm playing identity politics? I mean, I defend anybody's right to self-determination in terms of their sexual and gender orientation, what race they consider themselves to be. I mean, it's I mean, because if you think about it, who better should make that determination than the individual? You want government determining who you are?
God, no. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, when you think about that, then I've heard somebody, well, science. But wait a minute, no. Science is a mute voice. Science is spoken by people.
Right.
Okay. Science is, and I was actually arguing this with a bioscientist about transgenderism, and he caught me in a. I was mistaken about. I made some because I have a degree in bioscience, but he has a PhD, and he said, "Well, that's not what the Y chromosome does, as you are well familiar. It has the." And he repeated this long phrase that has all these genes on it. And I said to him, well, then as you well know, if it's that many genes, there must be a cascade of variations, right? And I can tell you that any woman will tell you that when her hormones are changing, she feels differently, right? So you can't say that just because somebody has a certain chromosomal makeup that their hormones are the same as every other person. Yes or not?
Right. Also, if you want to talk about science, we can delve into the abortion conversation with conservatives who suddenly don't want to.
Exactly.
Science doesn't apply there clearly, but
it's not a question. It really isn't the question. It's the question of self-determination, and if I want to defend somebody's right to self-determination of whatever their identity is, I'm not playing identity politics. It's kind of like being around somebody that, they're using offensive epithets, and if you call them on it and say, listen, then you ruined the party, right? Because you said, oh, you can't even say the N-word anymore with you. It kind of goes back to the, what are they? They say, oh, you're the word police. God, what was the phrase for that? Political correctness, right?
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
If you ask somebody, look, no, the old time racist remarks or that were acceptable in white society 60 years ago. No, I don't want to hear that.
Not here today.
I'm the bad guy. I'm playing race politics, right? Because I asked you not to say that.
Or you're just being a decent human being, really.
Yeah. Oh, well, you told me I'm not a decent human being? That's the next thing.
How dare you?
Yeah, exactly. It's just, and finally, I think most of the sports teams, maybe there's one or two that have, rid themselves of, I think the Washington football team is now the Commanders. The Cleveland team, baseball team is something else now. Are the Atlanta still the Braves?
You're talking to the wrong person about sports.
Yes, that's correct.
Thank God Paul is here. Thanks, Paul.
Most of them have gotten the message that, look, like Eric Grant said on Family Meeting, what an opportunity. Change the name of your team and you have a huge opportunity to make big bucks on re-merchandising your team, right?
Yeah, that's true.
Why continue with a team called the Redskins, right?
Yeah.
I mean, but people, Paul, you're playing identity politics.
Oh, man.
No.
Paul, if you watch Fox News as much as I do, this is exactly what they're talking about all the time. And it's infuriating. So don't watch Fox News. Just don't. Because let me be the one who takes the dagger.
I actually don't have a television.
Oh, okay. Well, that's good on you, my friend. Good on you.
I haven't watched TV in about over 30 years.
Well, you're not missing much.
No, I can't stand the sound of TV, and I really can't stand the sound of Fox. It's too loud. It's too in your face, and this is what people want. I mean, this is what makes them feel justified. And
this is what we have
honestly,
for the next 4 years.
It comes from a lot of weak character in my view. So.
I would agree with that completely, 1,000%, my friends. Yes, I really love when you call in and catching up with you. Please call in next time I'm on. Next time I'm voicing for Patty. Please call. I mean, obviously when Patty's here, call in as well. But yeah. You have a very Merry Christmas, and if I don't talk to you before that, Happy New Year.
Same to you.
All right, you take care. Okay.
Thanks,
Paul. We're going to take a quick break here. Driving Home with Patti Vasquez here on WCPT 820 Heartland Signal. I'm Dan Schaefer, and I will chat with you guys after the break.
You're listening to Driving It Home with Patti Vasquez on WCPT 820.
And hello, everybody. Happy Friday. This is Driving Home with Patti Vasquez here on WCPT Heartland Signal. I am Dan Schaefer filling in for Patti Vasquez. Really great show. I do want to remind everybody that we had a guest on, Dion from Dion Chicago Dream. So if you guys want to follow him on all social media, at Dion Chicago Dream or DionChicagoDream.com for any way that you guys can support that amazing organization. Let's keep going with the calls here. We have Richard from Chicago. What's up, Richard? Happy Friday.
Yeah, same to you. Yeah, I was calling in when you were talking about the debt.
Yeah.
And, I'm pretty old, but I consider myself, there's no fair amount about, our government and things. I mean, I'm not an expert, but I was just blown away when I realized that. And before that, Ronald Reagan, he was the small government guy, and everybody,
of course, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Like all the Republicans, their claims, right? And then when I looked up, you can Google it, debt by president.
Yeah.
And it is overwhelming Republican. The problem is if you ask 99% of the people here, and you can ask me, until a few years back, I would have said, yeah, it's the Democrats. Because that's all you hear. We can't. We're screwed. I guess I can say that on the air.
You can say screwed. Yeah, that's safe. That's a safe word. Yeah. Yeah.
And then it's so many of these. There's a book called, I haven't read it, I didn't want to read it, but it's called It's All a Lie. The Republicans said that everything that the Republicans stand for is...
Ooh, that's an interesting book.
Yeah, I have not read it. You read it?
No, but I'm writing it down as you're talking about it.
Yeah, what did the guy say? It's not that old. I just didn't want to get any madder than But I just think the facts don't seem to get out. And we just saw it in the election with inflation. We're better than the rest of the world. It's not the press to say that. And then we blame for it.
Richard, can you do me a favor and put the phone closer to your mouth? I'm having trouble hearing you. There we go.
I'm sorry. Yeah.
There you're good.
So we, we just had this with the election. Biden has done a wonderful job, but the economy's horrible. And I don't understand why does the press need, they follow Trump, whatever you have to say, but on their own, can't they look up, who had debt? Can't they add up whose personal responsibility when, when the Republicans want to put government in every woman's personal life? And in that book, there's a whole list probably of everything else, Democrats were warmongers, that was another great one that I grew up with. I don't know how to break it. I don't know how.
Richard, because again, I watch a lot of conservative shows, which my husband yells at me for all the time, but they always blame Biden for getting us into multiple wars. And I was like, no, we never asked for Hamas to invade Israel. We never asked for Russia to invade Ukraine, but we are aiding our allies. These are not wars that we've started, so we're not warmongers. The same way that if not that it would ever happen, Canada invaded us or Mexico invaded us, we would expect our allies to come to our aid. We didn't start these wars. Like Biden, the Democrats did not start the current wars that we are currently affiliated in.
Well, it's I remember during Vietnam, the Democrats got all the blame, but the country loves war. In my opinion, and the Democrats couldn't have said, we're going to pull out of Vietnam because you would have been called soft on communism. So, we get blamed for everything, and we don't seem to be able to push back. And I don't see that ending, and I think that's our death knell, frankly, that if we can't, if the press can on their own start to look at things and hold accountable, if it's a Democrat, hold them accountable, if it's a Republican, hold them. If they can't get to the truth of the public, or at least enough of the public that we can win an election nationally, I don't know how you do it.
I think we have to stop relying on the press, honestly. And you know, it's interesting to me because like when Donald Trump was running, the press, the media was the enemy. Yet the media was his best friend. Literally his best friend. They gave him so much free coverage.
Called him a liar.
True.
Yeah, you never called him a liar.
Right.
30,000 lies in this first administration, and they're just misstatements. And I don't get it. Even now, they won't say he's a liar.
No, they won't.
Well, we don't know really what he believes. The words out of his mouth are lies.
Yeah.
So I don't get it. I don't know.
It's dollars. It's dollars. That's what it is. That's what they're seeing. And that's. I mean, and I get it. You know, if you're a corporate media outlet, your goal is to make money, and then you don't care who it affects. But yeah.
You can make money though by telling the truth and being controversial, even driving it home with with facts. You know, I mean. Do they need Biden to hold their hand and tell them what to say? And we blame Biden because he doesn't do that. I mean, but he shouldn't have to do it.
No, I do think the one thing Biden didn't do properly enough was he didn't put himself out there enough to like broadcast the stuff that was going well and all of the things. But even if he did, I think it would have fallen on deaf ears, honestly.
Well, didn't he do that a couple of days ago? I didn't even hear about the speech except on the WCPT.
He did. He did go out there and nobody covered it.
Nobody covered it.
Right.
Because every of my friends are always mad at the Democrats. And I go, believe me, they're talking to these cameras, but they don't care. The media would rather have a loudmouth from a Republican Party.
Well, and now he's getting such flack because he's not out there in front of everybody. And honestly, at that point, I'd be like, what do I care? Nobody's going to cover me anyway, and whatever. Okay. Like what? Yeah. Good deal. Like, I mean, yeah. But it's true, though. I mean, I do think that Donald Trump has gotten way more coverage than is warranted, and nobody fact checks him when he says certain things. No, go on.
Yeah, they believe the government. Yeah, I'm sorry. I was just saying they believe the government. They think the government is after him. Those laws were written before Trump was in office that he broke. And the government's going after him. So we shouldn't go after crime. I mean, because the Democrats are always soft on crime, too, right?
Apparently.
I mean, I've watched this now for 70 years. I have no idea what in the world's going on anymore.
Well, I would say the Republicans are soft on crime. They just elected a president, a convicted felon. So I would say the Republicans have gone soft.
I like that.
Yeah. It's true. The first convicted felon to be elected president. So, yay on you guys.
Yes. Yeah. It's beyond me. But anyhow, I just wanted to throw that out. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I went on too long.
No, you don't. No, you're fine. You're totally good. All right. Well, thank you very much, Richard. You have a good rest of your night and have a great holiday.
You as well. Thanks very much.
Thanks.
Appreciate it.
Have a good one.
Bye-bye.
We've got Marty on the line. Marty, how are you, friend?
Hey, Dan, I'm doing super duper. Thanks for taking my call.
Absolutely.
Happy holidays, season's greetings, Merry Christmas, whatever else we're celebrating.
Same to you, my friend. What's going on?
Yeah, no, I just wanted to, thank you for everything you guys do. Thank WCPT for being the respite of, factual information, because I think that's, the thing I fear the most is the attack on the free and open press. That is, Donald Trump conditioning his followers to say, oh, everything else is fake news except for what I tell you, And the press, is protected by the Constitution. It remains our greatest defense against corruption and tyranny. And I think safeguards our democracy. So we need to, reinvigorate, our free press and, fight against the consolidation and be open. I started posting on Substack. And so I'm just going to, keep posting articles just so I can just get a viewpoint out there, and that's something I think we all can do collectively, right? We are the press, right? We can account for our own experiences.
I think
it's
a grassroots effort. What is your Substack if people want to look you up?
Sure, it's definitely. I would love that. It's Party Marty is Right. .substack.com.
That's a fabulous name.
Yeah, yep. So, you can check out some of my posts. Ever since I started, I'm just at least putting out at least something every day. And I think that's something that we all can do collectively, during the holiday, during our downtime, is, start figuring out how to get a message out.
And that's where I kind of think the holidays are an opportunity. Everybody kind of they're going to kind of take a breath, take a step back, which I think everybody needs. But if you have a random moment or a few moments or 30 minutes, just do something, right? Comment on a post or read an article or write a Substack or write a blog, do something. And I do think that
go to Blue Sky.
Blue Sky, right? Exactly. And I do think that that's going to be the key right now. Is it's going to take individuals contributing, and then that's where we build this community, and then we build a movement, because I do think that we need a movement. It's not going to be the traditional democratic movement that the DNC and all that. We'll work on that, but we need to have our own group of things that we have going, and we need to build up and combine efforts and just keep going. I think that's where I'm at right now. I was in a very dark place 3 months ago. I'm moving this way now.
Yeah, we have to, because that's how we're gonna get people engaged. Because the problem it wasn't that Trump got more voters; it's that our voters weren't engaged. They weren't paying attention. We didn't have enough turnout. I mean, and I know people are cynical, and I know it didn't happen here in Illinois, but I mean, in other states, I traveled to Michigan. I was knocking on doors.
I was in Michigan too, knocking on doors.
Yeah, I was in Benton Harbor. I got to meet Bill de Blasio from New York, and got to hang out with him, and jumped in a car with a total random stranger, and her and I became fast friends. And and there is a movement here, and I think a huge problem is misinformation warfare that's going down on right-wing hate radio. It's all over the place. You start flipping around, and it's we're being told we're this otherism, you're the problem, these people are the problem, everyone else is the problem. And while they're blindly getting everyone else to get enraged over nothing while stealing and not solving the problems that we need to be addressing. Yeah. And the more that we get out a message of rationality and what we should be doing, I think that more people will get invigorated. And I think just blabbing on Facebook, I don't think doesn't help. Having a way to that's why I kind of like the Substack. But whatever else we can do to get a message out there, I think is what we're all going to have to be doing next year.
Thanks for doing what you do. You have a great Christmas, okay?
You too. Enjoy. Thanks.
All right. Take care. Thanks. All right, everybody. This is the end of our show. Driving Home with Patti Vasquez here on WCPT 820 Heartland Signal. I am Dan Schaefer filling in for Patti. If I don't talk to you before Christmas, Merry Christmas. If she doesn't ask me to fill in between then, Happy New Year. And so have a great rest of your Friday, and we'll chat with you soon. Randy Rhodes is next.